Welcome to Clean Air Vapor's video series on building a POS system for your small business. I'm Timothy Haid. I'll be your host. I am using Filemaker 14 Pro. This video series is an extended series of videos to help the small business owner cope with the overwhelming cost of digital sales recording and accounting. Here we are again. Hi, I'm Tim Haid. I'm your host, and today we are going to be working on another episode of the Your Store POS system. So let's just go ahead and get into that. And here we are at the daily sales reporting register one. So the first thing that we're going to want to do with this is we're going to want to press the Edit Layout button. And what we're looking at, what we want to look at, is we want to look at all of these little tabs that we have. Because what we need to know is we need to know what are they, where they come from. So we'll press on date, and you see it says register one monitor date. So what we need to do first and foremost is we need to just go ahead and we need to write that stuff down. And the reason why is because we don't want to get lost in the process of doing this, the scripting that we're just getting ready to do. And then we have time of action, and that's basically going to be, what time was this button actually pushed, the invoice number, and then we have cash sales and credit sales. And I'm writing these things down as I'm talking to you. Taxable sales, taxes collected, total sales, I'm writing these down on a separate piece of paper. I'm just going to kind of move that, and then we have note one. Those are the only ones that we're really we really care about, basically. The notes one we will care about later on, but for now we just don't have an issue with that. So let's go to our invoice one page. And now what we see is here we have a bunch of buttons too that we're trying to tie together for that other unit. So if we click on the cash button, click twice, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this pop-up, and that's exactly what we want. And then if we press the verified button twice, it will give us what we want it to do. So we want it to perform a script. But what we need to do previous to doing this, basically, is, let's close this stuff out really quick, is we need to know what we're going to tie into. So on one side of your the piece of paper that you have that you wrote down all your information on from the last page that we were at, which is it's a store one monitor, right? And what we need to do is we need to go into the admin portal. We're going to just do that really quick, get to the admin portal, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select any button, and we're going to edit the layout. We're going to press that button twice, and we're going to type in daily sales 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to just do a single step. Pretty simple. We're going to click here in this big open space. We're going to start typing the word go. Go to layout, double click that. Click the original layout, select layout, and then we're going to want to go to daily sales 1, register 1 monitor. And click OK. There it is. Now what we've done is we've created a path So if we exit the layout and we click on this, it'll take us to our monitor. Now, what I was talking about previously here just a minute ago was that you need to take and write all of these down on a piece of paper. Make a list. Either on the right or the left-hand side of the page is just fine, but make sure that they're all on one side of the page. So now if we go from here to invoice 1, because this is the one that's actually going to be tied to it. So everything from invoice 1 is going to go to our register 1, our daily sales record. And so now that you have them all on, you have all of those buttons from the other, the daily sales, you have all of these listed on one side of the page. On the other side of the page, and directly across from them, is we need to write down what we want to tie to those. So if you remember correctly, on the last page on daily sales, we had the date, the time of action, the invoice number, cash sales, credit sales, taxable, taxes collected, total sales, and notes 1. So those should all be something that you have written on a piece of paper. I have mine written on the left. So let's go back to the invoice 1. Now we need to pair those or marry those with those two pages. So before we can actually correctly write the script for this cash button, we need to figure out what information we need from this page that will tie to the other page that we have our actual record. So the date we don't have to worry about. We can just select today's date. And then the time of action, we don't have to do that. We can just do a current action. And the invoice, we're going to want this invoice number. We're going to want this box right here. So let's go to the little I. We're going to see it says register and then invoice number. So where it says, where you've got invoice, right across from it, write down that this is on your register, and then you've got your double semicolons, and then it's invoice number. And you have to keep track of all of these so that you know what to pair with what. And of course, you guys don't really have to worry about it so much because we will all be working this together. And then if you click the tax 2, it tells you that it's not on register, it's in the invoice selection. So on the taxes collected portion, you would actually write invoices tax due, invoices double semicolon, and then tax due. So I will go ahead and write all these down, and you should do the same. I'll be right back in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. Let's go ahead and write some script. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to double click on the cash button. Let's start with the cash button. Remember, the cash and credit, the split will be different, but the cash and the credit will basically be the same, except for a few things, a few minor things will change, and we'll discuss those later. And now we're going to double click on the cancel button. And instead of doing nothing, we're going to ask it to do a single step. And we're going to come over here and we're going to just click in this big area so that our program knows what we're actually wanting to do. And we're going to type in the word close. And we're going to get close popover. So we'll double click close popover. Sorry about that. So if you double click on that, it's just going to say close popover. So we're just going to do a single step, type in close popover. I know I may be repeating myself, but I just had a customer and had to deal with that. So now what happens is this. If we were to exit the layout and we were to press the cash button, we get this, and if we press the cancel button, it just closes the popover and it just goes back to normal. So it's like canceling the sale. So we'll go back to edit layout, double click cash, go into verified. And now it's going to say, what do you want to do? Well, we want it to perform a script. We're going to need to add a script. So the new script, what we're going to do is we're going to write reg 1, which is register 1, cash sales. And we'll click OK. Now it's going to give us this beautiful little place that we can start typing all kinds of script in. So the very first thing that we're going to want to do is let's type in the word close, and we're going to close the popover because we don't need it anymore. Then we're just going to click off, click anywhere on the screen, start typing the word freeze. We'll freeze window. And now I think what we'll do is let's select an if statement, because if statements are pretty good. So if, let's see, if is empty, let's go with is empty. So if is empty, field, and we don't want this to be register. We're going to want this to be, what we're looking for is we're just trying to make sure that our invoice, let's go to invoice, that our subtotal is not it's not empty. Let's just say that. So we need to make sure that we actually have something on the register. So we're going to say if this is empty or our grand total is empty, let's just go with our subtotal. So if our subtotal is empty, then what we want to do is we want to show custom dialog. And the dialog will be invalid entry. What we're going to tell it, we're going to get rid of this cancel. The stupid cancel button I can't stand. So in the message, what we're going to do is we need to tell the person who's using the system that they can't just press the cash button and not have any sales. So we will say you must have at least one item on the invoice before closing. We'll call that good. Now, you can type in anything. Most of my other ones, and if you followed me even at all, then you know that most of the time I put something on there that kind of scares the employee. Like, you're not permitted to do this. So we'll just do that. And then right after that, what we'll do is we'll just press the halt script button. And then we're done with that. So then on the, we're just going to click off here so that we're not in that area anymore. And then we're going to want to start setting some variables. So the first variable that we want to set, and you have to name it. You can name it pretty much anything that you want to. I'm going to name the very first one invoice. And that's basically the invoice number. And so what we're looking for is we need to go back to our little list that we have. And if you remember correctly, it was under register and it was called invoice number. So we'll just double click that, and now it sets that invoice number and we're good to go. Then we need to set a lot more variables. So this one, let's name this one cash. And this is basically what its value is let's specify what it is. It's not under register, it's going to be under the invoice. And what we're looking for is the C grand total. And we'll set another variable. And the variables that we're setting actually is information that we're trying to collect. Okay, so if we want like a this one, let's type in the word tax. I don't recommend that you actually have to capitalize the first one if you don't want to. It's not an issue that you do or do not. Got to go back to invoice, and this one is going to be the tax due button, or the tax due, yeah, tax due. And as you can tell, you can even have what the tendered amount was. You can have how much cash did they give you, what's the tendered amount. You can have any variables you want to. And when you go back to your your record, your daily sales record, you will be able to put those on. You just need to build more boxes for those, and we all know how to do that because we've been there. So we now have the tax due, we have the cash, we have the invoice number. Some of the other things that we're going to need, though, is we're going to need like the date, right? So let's type in. I might as well just stay the same as I have before. So we'll go date, and then if you type in set, I think it's set, or no, it's get, isn't it? Get. Should be get date, get field, get time, get as time, get as date. No, wrong one. No, okay, never mind. I know what it is. I screwed that up. Let's just get rid of that. Let's do insert. It's got to be insert. Look at all of those. So many. HI, insert. No. I'm pretty sure it's insert. Let's just search date. Get current date. See, how hard is that? Let's erase this. And then we'll just do that. Get current date. Okay. And let's set another variable. And this variable is going to be the time. And this one is going to be, let's just type in the word time. Get current time. And what else do we need? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So we have the grand total, invoice, tax due, current date, current time. I think we will live with that. Okay, so now what we need to do is we just click off of here. We're going to tell it to commit, and we're just going to commit records request. And what we're trying to do is we're just going to perform that without dialogue. We're just trying to set the information so now the information is set and we don't have to worry about it. And now we'll type in go because we're going to go to layout, because now is where we need to go to our new layout, and it's daily one sales, right? Sales one monitor. And while we're there at our new layout, we need to type in the word new records request, because we want a fresh record. We want to make sure that we're getting a brand spanking new record. We don't have to worry about it. You know what's funny is I think you can type in the word insert. There you go. See, I knew I kind of messed that up. So let's just do that. Let's insert current date. And we're going to insert that current date on a target field. And this one is register one monitor. And it's date, right? Double click it. So what that means is that these two, we can highlight them and just press the delete button. Highlight that and do the delete button because we don't need them. I knew there was an insert. It's been a while since I've done this, so let's do the insert, insert current time, and we will go to a target field, register one monitor, time of action, and click off of that. So now our current date is set in on the date line, and our current time is set on the time action. So the second you push that button, it will register what time it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to need to set some fields. So let's set, we're going to set the field, specify target field, and obviously these are all going to be register one monitor fields. And we're going to do the invoice number, click it twice and it'll go off. And our calculated result. Now the invoice, see right here we have $ invoice. So what we need to do is we need to type in $ invoice, exactly the same as it is printed here, because this is now the name of your variable. So we're saying we want to set this in there. We want to set this variable into this particular system. So we'll just press OK, click off of it, and so now it'll set that field as this variable. And we'll just click off. We can type in the word set. You know, it's so much easier just to press set variable, just to go over there and collect it. Oh, cancel. I don't want a variable. I want to set field. So let's click on that and delete it. Set field. Double click. We're going to specify a target field, and the target field is going to be register one monitor, and we want, this is where the difference is. So cash sales or credit sales. So we're going to press cash sales because this is the cash button. We'll double click it. And the calculated result is going to be $cash, right? So it will be $cash. Okay. Register one monitor, cash sales, cash. And we'll set another field. And we're going to do register one monitor. And we're going to do taxes collected. Let's do taxes collected because that's really a good one. And here you have $tax. And we'll call that good. Now you could survive with that information and then just duplicate if you want to. But let's do this. Let's, because we have so many more buttons, we have so many more boxes that we want to fill in. Because we want, we also want the taxable sales. And that's going to be kind of an interesting deal. So we may have to make some changes. Because we do know what the taxes are that we sold, but our total sales needs to be this cash. So it's a C grand total, right? So let's set the field, and we're going to go to register one monitor. We're going to go total sales. Total sales. And that total sales needs to be this cash number. But if that's all that the total sales is, we're still forgetting an entire we're still forgetting an entire thing. So how can we do this? What we need to do is, if you remember, on this invoice system, we actually have like a non-taxable goods. So I'm going to click on set variable, and I'm going to just set another variable in here. And what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to have this one, I'm just going to call it grand total. And I'm going to specify what this grand total is. So the grand total is going to be, we're going to be in the invoice section of this. And remember our price NT? That's the price no tax. There should be a summary price no tax, and here it is. So there's a summary price no tax. But we need to add that to the subtotal, because the summary subtotal is also it's also a function there, because those two are going to be separated from each other, right? So let's go ahead and agree with that, and we'll say okay. And so now we have a grand total here. So our total sales needs to actually be different. It needs to not be this. So let's click on this, and let's specify the calculated results. And we're just going to $ grand total. And it matches perfectly. You can actually reach over here probably and copy it, or you can copy it and then just paste it over here when you're done, but that should work. So that's grand total. Now some of what we have is we need the date, we need the time, we need the invoice number. Those are very big things. We need to know that this is the cash sale and the total number of cash sales. We need to know how much taxes that we've actually collected. And what's funny is we could do a taxable sales, because if you remember correctly, we had the taxable sales. So let's do that. Let's set another field. Let's set a field, and we're going to specify the target field. We're going to go into register one monitor and taxable sales. And we're going to specify that we want that taxable sales to be this what we're looking for is one that was the subtotal, price NT plus subtotal. So we're actually missing that. So let's type in $subtotal. Let's just type that in, and we'll call that good. But then we need to go up here, we need to click, we need to set another variable. And let's set that variable as, and just as we did down here, subtotal. We need to specify that. And that subtotal is going to be the invoice subtotal. Okay. So now we have all of these. And then let's just type in, I just clicked, what I'm doing is just clicking here. We're just going to type in halt script. Oh no, I don't want a halt script. Don't want a halt script. It's backspace. What I want to do is commit. I want to commit records. I want to commit those records into where they need to be, and we're just going to perform that without dialogue because we don't want to listen to anything. And then after we commit our records, we are going to want to go to we're going to go to a layout, and it's going to be the original layout. right where we started from. And then we're going to type in, I'm thinking, it's been a while. I really apologize for being so latent at doing these things. Okay, so we're going to need to do a new record request, because when we go back to that page, we want it to refresh, and we want a brand spanking new record. We want a brand spanking new invoice and something ready for us to go. And then now we can actually type in the H for the halt script, and we're done. Now we can add things to this, and one of the things that we can add to it is we can add a global modifier. We can say, okay, here's the invoice number, and we can bring that invoice number back to after the new records request and verify that our invoice number is one more. So instead of it invoice 100, it'll be invoice 101. And if you have to do that or you need to do that, let me know and we'll go with that. So I think we're good with this. So now let's close out all these windows. Let's exit the layout. Let's go to menu, put a hot dog and a chili dog on there. We'll go to the invoice. Here it is. It has our number. Of course, it just says hot dog plain, so apparently the chili dog's not in the in our inventory, and we'll have to fix that later. But let's go with that. So we have $3.50 total due. Let's go to cash, verify it. Brand spanking new record came up. We'll just, as we see here, there's our invoice number, 11. And now let's go to, why is it not letting me do anything? Let's edit the layout. Go here. Why is that button not working? I guess it was just taking its sweet time. Daily sales 1. Exit layout. And here's our information. Now notice we haven't put our things up, so let's do that. Let's promise that by the next time we have another video, we'll have another video next week, that we're going to go ahead and start to label these. And you see that it went ahead and it put today's date in. It went ahead and put the exact time of day it is. And remember, our new invoice was number 11. This one is number 10. This is our, as a matter of fact, let's just do that really quick. Let's edit the layout. We're going to add text. Type in time. Click off. Move it up. See if we can get it dead in the center. That usually means that there's a customer here, but today there is not. So hold the control button and we're going to slide this over, keeping it on the same keel. Oh, I lost it. I had it. It was perfect. I'm just going to drop it off. Then I'm going to move it. There it is right there. And I have properly labeled all of them. You can see them whenever you want to. And I'm going to make them white. I think they need to be a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. That works for me. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to just make them a little more yellowish color. I tend to like yellow, especially when it comes to highlighting things. Now you can make them bold. You can do anything that you really need to get done on those. But now if we exit the layout, here we are. Now you can see exactly what you have. You have the date, you have the time, the invoice number. Cash sales was $3.65. Taxable was $3.50, which means the item was actually $3.50. So this was your taxes. Your total sales was $3.50. That would be incorrect, wouldn't it? Because your total sales needs to be what this taxable sales is. So obviously somewhere in that system we made an error and we need to fix that. So we're kind of pushing on 30 minutes here, so let's go back into, let's edit the layout, manage the scripts. Let's do this really quick. Register 1 cash sales, and we'll see where we are, because if you remember, that was the total sales. I liked it better when it was a little box. So the total sales is the grand total. And this, well, that doesn't make any sense, because the grand total is the price NT plus, plus the subtotal. So it doesn't, you're absolutely correct. This grand total has nothing to do with the taxes. So this, the cash sales should actually be the grand total. Do you see where we messed up here? Here, this grand total doesn't have the taxes built into it. What it does have into it is, so what you could do here is, should I close this or just make it smaller? Because this cash sale should be the amount of cash that you have in your register at any given time. But then again, this total sale should also be. And so what we could do is we could say, okay, the cash sales are cash sales without credit card or without taxes, and then add these taxes, and that would equal the total sales, right? So why don't we just do that? Let's take this, move it you. So the cash sales, we're going to change that to the grand total, and then we're going to do the total sales here as cash. So let's click on that, and we're just going to type in cash. Okay, and click on that one, and we're going to type in grand total. And so this should look exactly like that. This should be exactly like that. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to click down here on the bottom below halt script, Control S, which saves it, and now it gets rid of the asterisk, and we'll close it off. Now, if we let's exit the layout, go to the console. And now that we're at the console, look at, we have no way to get to the main menu, do we? So here, let's click here, and let's type exit. And single step. And we'll type in the word go to layout. And the layout that we want to go to is the launch page. Okay. See, we're building this up every single day. So now we're at the launch page. We can go to register 1. We can, this is on a computer, so it's going to be a little bit different. But apparently there's no chili dog. As you can see, it's not highlighting. There's no Philly dog. There's none of the rest of these are actually available. Just the hot dog. Let's click the hot dog a couple of times. I noticed it wanted to go to that page. This is the quantity, if you remember correctly. Let's go to the invoice. Here now we have $7 because we have 2 hot dogs. Total due is $7.50. Do cash. It's closed it. Started us a brand new record. Notice now we're on 12. You know what? Let's edit this layout. Let's go here, and then I'm not sure if we actually discussed this or not, but let's go into this informational, because what we need to do is we need to make sure that this is not available in browse mode, but it is available in, well, that's funny because it was available in, but why was it blinking? Set tab order. Clear all tabs. Now let's see if we edit the layout. See, we shouldn't have access to any. This is the only button that we should have access to, which is the amount tendered. Of course, that was my scroll button. Okay, so let's go back to the menu, go back to the launch page. We're going to type in our secret code of 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the admin page. Go to daily sales 1, and there it is. We have the cash sales at $7, and if you notice, these are not yet registered. So let's do this. Let's go to this cash sales. Go to this button. We're looking at the data, and the formatting that we want is we want this to be currency, and then we want it to have a fixed number of decimals too. We'll just use the system settings for the separators, and we'll call that good. Now we're going to move to this one. We're going to do the exact same thing because credit card sales is going to be currency. We want it to have a fixed number of decimals. We'll just use the standard system settings. Move it over here. Taxable sales, exactly the same thing. Just keep doing this very same thing, and it's going to really clean this up for you. It's going to make it look really good, and it's kind of funny that they didn't have that. And here we can actually tell it to not display a number if it is 0, but it normally won't display a number if it's 0. Taxes collected are also currency. Fixed number of decimals, system settings, total sales, currency. Okay, now if we close this out, close, exit the layout, ta-da, now it's all monetary. And if you notice, we didn't do these bottom ones, so before we come back next time, make sure that everyone has these little bottom subtotals completely finished, so that we can go on to the next thing. And the next thing we're going to do is we're basically going to show you we're going to kind of copy and paste, and we're going to show you how to do some more script writing for, because we're going to need to do this credit card thing too, and we're going to need to do the split sales. So hey, come back next time. I will see you then. Have a good day, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Subscribe. If you guys want me to continue doing this, I'm going to need you to subscribe. Thank you.